Our top focus this hour, after weeks of intensive strikes, Israel's defense forces have now confirmed the start of a major ground offensive in Gaza City area. Visuals that have surfaced show large plumes of smoke rising in Gaza as blasts rock the enclave. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz said early Tuesday that Gaza City was on fire. Palestinian residents reported heavy strikes across Gaza City on Tuesday morning. In fact, one overnight strike hit a house in the western side of Gaza City, and according to the Al-Shifa hospital that treated the injured, at least 5 Palestinians were killed, which included 2 children. A United Nations probe, meanwhile, charged Israel with committing genocide in Gaza. In a bid to destroy the Palestinians, the probe accused Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu and other top officials of incitement. However, Israel has categorically rejected the report, calling it distorted and false. This comes as the war in Gaza has claimed more than 64,000 lives so far. In fact, according to the Gaza Health Ministry, while a global hunger monitor says that part of it is suffering from famine, Israel has ramped up its bombardment of Gaza City, destroying residential buildings, killing hundreds and displacing tens of thousands of people. The Israeli military has repeatedly called on residents to evacuate the region and has asked them to move southwards. Israel parallelly says that it is destroying Hamas infrastructure in the enclave's largest urban center. Around 1 million Palestinians were estimated to be residing in Gaza City before the IDF began to prepare for the major offensive against Hamas. Palestinians, the displaced ones, are now said to be moving southwards along coastal roads in the Gaza Strip due to renewed Israeli evacuation orders for Gaza City. Israeli military has urged residents to evacuate as strikes intensify, demolishing high-rise buildings allegedly used by Hamas. More than 320,000 Palestinians have so far evacuated Gaza City to other areas of the Strip.
We have been displaced more than 20 times so far. We have become homeless. Where can I go with my children? My husband is in one area and my children and I are in another. We fled because of the intense bombing.
A top UN official, Tom Fletcher, has warned of a preventable, predictable famine in Gaza, urging Israel to allow unimpeded aid delivery in this area.
It's a preventable, a predictable famine. But we can stop it. We need the crossings open. We need functional access. We need unimpeded safe passage inside Gaza. We need the looting to stop. We need the hostages to be released. We need a ceasefire now.
Now, joining us on the broadcast is Chris Doyle from London. He's the Director of Council for Arab-British Understanding, or CABU, and is current lead spokesperson as well. Chris Doyle, appreciate you joining us on the broadcast. Now, forced evacuations are currently happening while widespread bombardments are taking place across Gaza region. Your assessment of the situation on the ground right now?
Well, this is happening because of an acute international failure to put pressure on Israel to stop what increasingly most bodies are calling a genocide in Gaza. It's also something that is highly divisive even within Israel, where many are opposing this war. They see it as a war of choice by Prime Minister Netanyahu, including the hostage families, many of whom believe, and there's a statement out today, that the ground invasion of Gaza City that has been announced today could see the end of those remaining lives of those hostages who've been held for nearly 800 days. So all in all, what we are seeing is a continuation of a completely preventable horror that has induced famine, widespread displacement. 90% of the population of Gaza have been displaced, and apparently now 40% of Gaza City, which is the largest urban area. And they're going to be compelled to going into ever more crowded, unsafe zones where there is no proper humanitarian access, no proper medical facilities, completely unsuitable to cater for these huge numbers of more displaced people.
Yes, Mr. Doyle also quoting the latest statement that's coming in from the Israel Defense Minister, who says that the mission is to create conditions for the release of Gaza hostages and, of course, dismantling Hamas altogether. But can we expect this to be a turning point in the 23 months of Gaza war, the final assault, so as to say, led by Prime Minister Netanyahu?
I really don't believe anybody takes seriously the statements of the Israeli government that their primary aim is to get the release of hostages. Why did they bomb the very negotiators, or attempted to bomb the negotiators in Doha, in Qatar, last week? That shows that the intention of the government is actually to end any conceivable chance of a ceasefire deal which would have been brought around the release of those hostages. That would have been the way to get those hostages out safely and to have a way of ending the atrocities that are going on. The real answer to this is that the Israeli government is hell-bent on continuing the destruction of Gaza, that it believes somehow that it will be able to destroy Hamas, although I don't think that is possible. I think that Hamas is an ideology. You can't bomb an ideology into oblivion, and compel it somehow to surrender. And in this, it's been given a green light by the United States. And unless that changes, I'm afraid we're going to see ever more disturbing images coming out of Gaza of the suffering that's going on.
Right. Mr. Doyle, just last point before we let you go. The next couple of hours are going to be extremely crucial as far as the diplomatic efforts are concerned. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, before leaving for Qatar, categorically warned of short windows, so as to say, to secure that Gaza ceasefire. Are the parties involved here on the same page as far as coming to the negotiating table is concerned? Even Qatar, for that matter, that's been mediating the talks between the two sides.
Well, I think Qatar is going to need considerable persuading about acting as a mediator unless there are massive security guarantees given to it after that Israeli strike, which was reckless and totally against achieving any chances of a real deal. Of course, you can get to such a deal. It is possible, particularly with American pressure. The United States provides Israel with most of its weaponry, so it certainly has massive influence. We're nearly up to 2 years of this horror. It is well overdue that it is ended, and those who are responsible are held to account. We cannot allow this to continue, and we really have to draw a line not just over this, but also all the other aggression and conflict that is going on as a result of all of this. Israeli strikes, other strikes all over the region. We need to bring this to an end.
Right, Mr. Doyle, point taken. Appreciate you joining us on the broadcast. Remains to be seen whether mediation efforts actually bear any fruit or not. For now, Israeli forces carrying out massive operations in Gaza region.